Hey guys, it's Rod with Civil Advantage Firearms Training. I'm going to talk super fast because there's a lot of important information, really important information for gun owners in this video, Canadian gun owners that is. And here's the backstory. Here we go. Maxime, he's an MP in Quebec, and he's running for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada. Why, what's the whole leadership thing? Well, the Conservative Party of Canada, they have 14 candidates. They're all running for leadership of the party. One of them will eventually win in a couple of months. That person will be the official leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and they will run against the other leaders of the other parties in a general election about 2.5 years from now to become the Prime Minister of Canada. So that's sort of how it works. I'm not a political party guy, but just to let you know what's going on. The reason why we're talking about him today is he reached out to me and reached out to us over at the CCFR, the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights. Now, the CCFR is not a lobbying organization. I'm not a lobbyist, right? But Maxime reached out to us and said, hey, would you be interested in interviewing me and talking about my platform? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to say no to that, right? And the CCFR is not going to say no, so we did it. So that's what brought us here. And the reason why I'm talking about Max's platform is because I know it very well, because he said, hey, I want you to have a look at this. If there's other candidates out there that want to do a similar thing with us, yeah, just let us know. I mean, we're not going to say no, right? So anyway, all that to say, I started looking through his platform, and I'm like, this would make a huge difference in my life, so I wanted to share that information. Now, the reason why you may need somebody like me to do that for you and boil it down is because you really need to understand the regulation to understand what kind of differences it's going to make. So I'm going to create some comparisons for you, give you some examples. So it's actually quite exciting. A couple of things exciting in the platform. One, I'll give you the least exciting first, okay? Least exciting is he's going to change the expiry period for a PAL from 5 years to 10 years. That way you don't have to do that year and a half or that hour and a half's work once every 5 years. You'll do that hour and a half's work once every 10 years. To me, it really doesn't make a difference, to be honest. But to some people, it might. The RCMP getting out of the classification business, this is super important. They should have never been in that business to begin with. In any functioning democracy on earth, and in the concept of a democracy, in the concept of a free and equitable society, you don't have a paramilitary force that enforces the law also writing the law. Okay, it's actually even worse than that. Actually writing the law through regulation that doesn't require any, it's completely covert. There's no, it's opaque, right? You can't even tell. So you got the people that enforce the law, have all the guns going, now we'll write this new law, we'll put it in there, we won't tell anybody, and people will be in non-compliance and be facing jail time, and they won't even know, and ignorance isn't an excuse, right? So it's created a really, really bad situation, and it's been abused. And so we're not going to finger point, we're not going to whine about it. It just needs to be fixed. It's completely inappropriate, and it's gone on far too long. So that's good. That's going to get fixed. Now, the two items. There's more than two left, but I want to talk about these two. These are the big deal. This is the meat and potatoes here. This is the main course, okay? Number one, the adoption of the simplified classification system. So right now, the way firearms are classified, it's a train wreck. So the pages and pages and pages and pages of classification stuff, they would all be gone. Basically, you have 100 words that describe the classification system, and you read those 100 words and you get yourself a tape measure, and you can tell how your firearm's classified. Non-restricted firearms are basically everything that's not restricted or prohibited, so all long guns. Prohibited firearms are full autos, and if you cut your firearm down too short, it would become prohibited. So altering firearms, no good. And also, any firearm that was prohibited before June 20th, 2016, so about just under a year ago. So they're saying they're not going to bring back all those prohibs and make them not prohibited any longer. I'm sure we could use this as a springboard to get there, but one step at a time. Because there's a lot of guns that don't belong in there, but again, I'd have to do a whole video talking about it. I think I did a whole video talking about it. And then restricted are just handguns, or any firearm of any kind that can be fired at its shortest by folding, telescoping, or otherwise, that's under 660 millimeters in overall length, or 26 inches, basically, is what that is. So let me boil that down for you, okay? Any firearm that's under 26 inches in overall length, it's restricted. If you've cut the barrel down or cut the gun down to be like you've altered it yourself, to be lower than that is prohib. So they're saying don't alter your firearms, don't cut the barrels off. But what's important is there's no barrel lengths in the classification system. That is critically important, okay? And it's all based on overall length, not on function of the firearm. So it's interesting. What does that mean? Your AR-15 will be now non-restricted. It means that there's all kinds of firearms that can be imported into Canada, just like the semi-autos that we have here. Remember, there's tens of millions of guns in Canada. We think there's between 14 and 21 million guns in Canada. Canada is awash in guns. So the arguments are like, well, there'll be more guns. Like, listen, there's millions and millions of guns as it is. Gangs and criminals and psychos don't have a problem getting guns today. All right, so don't worry about it. And they're not coming from me. I'm not handing them out. And if I was handing them out and I got caught, put me in stinking prison for 30 years. I have no problem with that, right? So anyway, punish the people that need to be punished. So that would actually make some sense. So your long guns, all non-restricted. So there you are in the AR, with your AR out in the forest, a 10.5-inch AR. I measured mine. It's still 26 inches in overall length. 10.5-inch AR. Here's the next thing. No magazine size restrictions any longer. The magazine regulation would be abolished, and as it should. Let me rattle this off. If you've heard me do this little routine before, forgive me. But if you haven't, it's pretty useful. So if you were to abolish the magazine capacity restrictions, you're going to have people go, oh my God, do you want a multiple victim public shooter? Do you want a mass murderer to have a 90-round drum magazine on an AR-15 so he can slaughter all these people in the public, insert public place here? And for one, you're like, why would you, what am I going to say? Yes, right? Of course. What a ridiculous question. Of course I don't want people shooting other people with firearms. Imagine a multiple victim public shooter. He's got their big crazy semi-auto rifle and a ballistic vest and a handgun, and he goes to the mall and he turns his car off and he gets out and he's got all this gear on, his balaclava, and he's like, okay, this is it. I'm going to shoot everybody and then I'm going to kill myself. What are they going to do? Oh my God, wait a second. I've got these overcapacity magazines. I could face a firearm charge. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. Everything was going so well. I'll never be able to get a government job or be bonded or travel anymore. You know what? I'm not going to do it. Like this, people are, they're looking you in the eyes and they're like, yeah, oh, do you want murderers to have 90-round drum magazines? Do you want them to have a 30-round mag? It's like, well, hold on. Do you think that they're concerned with your law? They already made the decision to murder a bunch of people. You can 3D print a magazine. You can pull the 3-cent rivet out of it that restricts the capacity. If I could get an illegal firearm, I think I can get an illegal magazine. It's like two children, 2 4-year-olds arguing with each other. That's what we have sometimes with some of these regulations, right? People will suspend their God-given intelligence to believe some of this stuff, right? So anyway, even so, Maxime in his platform, he says he's going to get rid of those things. I can't wait to use my AR with a standard capacity magazine in the forest where it does belong. Let's shoot cans with it, or run and gun, or long distance shooting. Like, why not? Why? I'm not bothering anybody. So that's really, really exciting. I can't even imagine what that would be like to not be going, oh my God, if this thing breaks and I can put 6 rounds in this magazine, I could do 3 years in federal prison for, up to 10, 1 mandatory minimum for unauthorized possession of prohibited device. Crazy, right? So really important. Now, why didn't he go farther? Because if he had gone farther, he would not win in a general election. So I'm very excited about his platform because I think it's a total winner. That would make a huge impact in my life. The other thing I'll mention real quick is when you have a classification system that says all handguns are restricted and it doesn't mention anything about barrel lengths, what does that mean to you as a gun owner? It means there's probably hundreds of new handguns that you don't currently own that you could buy now in Canada because a lot of them have short barrels in the United States. And it's funny because people are like, well, currently, if the barrel's too short on a handgun, it's prohibited. It's too dangerous to own. But what's the reality, guys? What's the reality, gun owners out there? What's the reality of that short barrel thing? The shorter the barrel is on a firearm, the less effective it is actually as a weapon. So the law just goes complete. And then somebody will come out and they'll be like, well, yeah, but it's more concealable. I'm like, more concealable? I have Glock 19, right? It's like, well, this is not concealable, but this is just too concealable. Like, I mean, again, here we are, right? With the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old arguing with each other, right? So anyway, Really great platform, super excited. If that happened, I'd be happy for 2 years, and then we'd be pushing for the next thing, right? And that's really how it's got to work if we really want change for gun owners. We have to make some pretty bold changes. If you think about what we've got in the last 25 years, which is pretty much this, well, ended a long gun registry and don't have to carry the physical copy of the ATT. You know, that's pretty much what we got. So, you know, this would be a huge step forward. Once we got there and we could see that public safety was not detrimentally affected whatsoever, then we'd be in a great position to go for the next step, right? And who knows where we could go and fight our way back to where we should be, where we belong as honorable, law-abiding gun owners. Anyway, again, I'm not telling you to vote for Maxime Bernier, but I've seen his platform. I've met with him. I had lunch with him. I think he's pretty good. He's got some good libertarian, conservative ideas, and if you want to vote for him, feel free to do that. Or if you want to vote for any of the other candidates, feel free to do that. I think you need to become a member of the Conservative Party before the end of March, before the 27th of March. I guess I should have looked that up. And then you can vote for the candidate. And I think it's the end of April or something when they announce or sometime in May or something like that when they announce the winner. So that's how you're going to do it. So anyway, you can find all that information in the description box. Thanks for watching this video. I know it was long, but there's some really important information there. And if, like I say, if you know other candidates or you are a candidate, reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you, and we'll talk about your platform too. All right. Thanks, guys. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.